All right, here is the video for Maketoys MTRM-15 Endgame, aka Dirge. Now this is, he's jet mode, and he's actually fairly solid all around, which makes the solar flare more of a puzzler. I thought maybe it was just an issue with the mold, but he's actually fairly solid and well put together for the most part, and so it makes a lot of the looseness issues with solar flare seem a little weird in comparison. But some of the pieces that were loose on solar flare are not on him, like the tail fins and such, so that could be part of it as well. But here he is. It's Endgame, it's Dirge, and for the most part, he's a really nice looking jet. He's got the cool vertical the fins on the outside of the wings. He comes with wing fillers for his version already installed. He's got some little extra weapons here on the bottom of his wings. These are just the null rays with the short missile attached, and then his more cone head weapons. He does include some fillers for Meteor, which I don't have a Meteor to use, but if you haven't already gotten those separately, he does come with wing fillers for Meteor. And that's about all, and some extra faces for robot mode, which we'll get to. Now, you'll notice here on the cockpit, like this is the one issue I really have with his vehicle mode, is that his cockpit doesn't quite line up, and these pieces don't quite, they're supposed, you can hear them kind of snapping into place and then immediately unsnapping, and it's absolutely the head, the cone head in here, and I'm not sure if it's the tip of the cone head hitting this post. I haven't quite been able to get enough light or clearance in there. I can shine a light right into it, but I can't get the clearance around the head to see if maybe his head is, there's a screw post in there, and I'm not sure if his head is hitting that, or if it's, you can see the back of his head has a beveled edge that butts right up against the beveled edge of this front piece, of the outer piece of the cockpit, or the nose cone, that's holding it down and just keeping it, just that, I mean, like, it's less than a millimeter of clearance, I think, that's needed to actually get this to lock into place. But because it's being on a ball joint, if you do pop the head off, here off this ball joint, oh, his face fell off, but again, that's supposed to happen because that's how you swap the faces out. If you take the face off, the whole head off, and it's not just the face, I've tried putting it in with just the face off, but if you pop the head out, this whole assembly comes together, latches together, and then tabs together and meets up. You can see that it's not clicky into place, but like this lines up right. This piece right up here is right up against the back piece of the cockpit, and just generally looks a little better. So it's definitely something with the head itself that's preventing it just barely. And here's that beveled edge inside there I was talking about that meets up with the beveled edge on the back of his head. And I don't know if maybe slightly filing this down, or maybe slightly filing this beveled edge down, but something in there is just not quite lining up right. Now, there is a little bit of a scuff on the tip of his nose cone that I thought may have been him. You can see there's a screw post there that maybe the tip of his nose cone is hitting, but I don't think that's the case. Most of this is just from, if you don't get this lined up just right as you're folding the nose cone up, it'll kind of catch right here, and I think that's what did that. But we'll go ahead and put his, so you got to kind of tilt his head back and then bring this up in a way that allows his head, and see that the head, no matter how you do this, it's very hard to get this to, there we go, perfectly clear that without at least a little bit of a scrape. But then the head folds back up. You make sure this beveled piece lines up down under here, and you can snap it together. And like I said, once that head's back in, now it doesn't quite want to snap into place properly. So, like I said, it's not a huge gap. It's not immediately noticeable, but that's honestly the one like glaring issue that I have with the toy itself. Most of everything else is, any complaints I had about the transformation for this, if I had any, I don't remember exactly what my complaints were, are still there. The transformation is basically the same. There is some clever stuff going on with the wings, which we'll get to. So yeah, we'll go ahead and start transforming him now from his jet mode. We'll go ahead and fold up his landing gear here. So one's down here. We'll pull off the weapons. Just wiggle them out. And we'll set those off to the side for the time being. And then we'll go ahead and start opening up the cockpit. Put this up. Getting this, popping his head out of here. Bring this up. Bring this whole assembly down, up, rotate this around, and then rotate this around right here. It doesn't get caught. All right, pull this piece out, fold this up and in, and then fold this back up into the chest cavity. Fold that up under there. Oh, this should come out a little further. Okay, well, maybe if I weren't holding on to the end of the jet. There we go. Get that together. And then we'll deal with this when we get to that part. Open up these panels. Now the wings, like I said, you unpeg. They're tabbed in here. You can see that this lower wing tabs into this upper piece here and here. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And then expand, pull the legs. Bring this up. So you can pull the legs out and about here. Slide those down. And get the legs out to extend the knee. Like that. And clip it in up front. And again, locks together much better than Solar Flare did. Before we close this up, rotate the nozzles out here to form the heels. So you rotate them, angle them out, and rotate these out and about here. And then fold these little brown panels up to get them out of the way here. Then extend the leg down and lock this panel, tab it into the front, and then tab it into the back here. If I can get this lined up properly. There we go. Oh, no, didn't get it. Come on. There we go. Get that all to lock in properly. Bring the foot out and down, like that. You can angle this back if you want. We'll do that in a minute. Bring the foot down, bring it out, and then make sure this all locks together properly behind the leg. Come on, you. There we go. There we go. Lift this panel up and angle those back. Now the wings here on the side, untab them from up front, up to, oh, hold on. Make sure, stopping, checking, making sure we're in framing. All right, so come up here, untab the side wings from the side and angle them out like this on these armatures, because these are going to, when we get there, are going to flip over. And actually, let's go ahead and do that now. When they flip over, they'll come up. They'll tab in, and then these pieces will come up on the armature, collapse, and then tab in onto the, instead of tabbing it up here, they tab in up here to make the wings like that, which is a neat, like the way they did that is really kind of cool. Come on, you. Oh yeah, you gotta be careful because these wing pieces actually do tab onto the arms right there. When you bring them down, you kind of want to open them up and make sure that that tab comes through on the wing piece. Bring that up, tab it in, and we'll deal with that momentarily. Bring that down, lift up torso vents, swing the arms out, slide them up on the little railings. Come out here, bring the what will become the hip plates out to the side. Go ahead and collapse this down so those can come out to where they're supposed to sit. Straight out and up like that. Just get them lined up here. There we go. His arms. Bring out his ab pieces here. Flip them all the way around and down. Come on. There we go. What are you doing? Come on. There we go. Tap something like that. And then we'll bring the cockpit down so we can get this a little higher up. There we go. Refocus just to be safe. And then this whole assembly kind of comes down. Lets his chest sit in, fold those tabs back down. Let this Open these up just a little bit because you want to bring the cockpit down and then peg these ab pieces into that to lock it all together. And if you need to lift it up a little bit to get in there, that's fine too. There we go. No. There we go. Got it. Bring those out. Bring the hip pieces back up. And then we can go ahead, bring the nose cone here down behind his head. Fold all this up, collapse it up. Leave those open. Fold the wing pieces in. And actually finally tab them into place up here. Just gotta get it lined up. There we go. Tab those in. And come over here and tab it in. Then extend his arms, flip his fists out. He still has the gap here in the forearm. I don't think that's gonna go away anytime soon. Again, these wings can also angle back here, which is nice. If you don't want them sticking straight out to the side, you can leave them sticking straight out to the side here. One of these feet is crooked. There we go. Okay. And there's endgame. Again, you can angle the lower wings back. He's a little back heavy right now. There we go. And yeah, we'll go ahead and pull the camera back down so you get all of them in frame here. Almost all of them. There we go. Good enough. Now he can wear his, what I call the cone head weapons, because I think this is Dirge. Thrust had standard null ray weapons, and Dirge and Ramjet had the bigger missile pod looking things, fuel pods or whatever. You can also take the short tips off of the small missiles here, just like you could on all the other ones, and put the full null ray looking weapons on, and he can wear those on his arm as well. I'm just going to put one on to show you, but I think he looks cooler and more distinguished with these on, but you can give him standard null rays as well. And I know they're probably not null rays, he probably had a separate weapon, but whatever. Posability, he remains the same as the Meteor mold. Again, the wings can move back. He's got a ball joint at his head. I almost feel like maybe if his neck here was a little shorter underneath where it attaches, it might keep that, let that head sit in the nose cone anyway. Now I'm just going on about the nose cone. But swivel arms in both directions, bicep swivels, dual hinged elbows, which are nice. He's got a waist swivel right there, right above that, although you might want to move that back up to get out of the way. Ratcheting hips, front and back, and they move out to the side. Thigh swivel, a decent hinge knee, and the toes can kind of move a little bit. There's a little bit of ankle tilt there as well. But all in all, not a bad looking Dirge. And like I said, if solar flare, the one I had was not as bad as a lot of people seem to have gotten, but it still had some issues. And if that has put you off this mold, no, this one is a much more solid representation. Like, it really makes solar flare the odd one out, because I remember Meteor being a nice figure and such, but solar flare, like I said, it had its issues. Even mine was not without fault, but this guy's remarkably solid. I don't have, like, as I mentioned, I don't have Meteor, but if you just want a real quick comparison, here he is with Masterpiece Starscream, the official Masterpiece Starscream, just to get an idea of how they look together. I did say he has different faces. Here is his neutral face. He comes with 4 different faces. He comes with a kind of happy smile, more of a, not sure what kind of face this is, a sad face, kind of sad, scared face, or an, oh, somebody's going to get in trouble face. What I'm calling him. And like I said, you saw that earlier. All you have to do to change the faces out is just pop that off, pop a new one on, and there he is with a happy face. There he is with, which face is this? Is the, oh, you're going to get in trouble face. Oh, if I can get it on there. I'm going to get in trouble if I can't get it on there. Oh, come on. Oh, I dropped it. Come on. So watch out for that. putting the faces on. There we go. That's definitely a face. Look at that. This is a concerned face, I think. Yeah, kind of a concerned, sad face. And this one is, did I already do the happy face? I guess we got a couple different versions of a happy face. What was the other one we did? Yeah, those are two different faces. They're just different. That one looks more like a sinister or scheming face, I guess. We'll just go ahead. Oh, okay. Go ahead and put his neutral face back on. And we'll pop his head back onto the ball joint. There we go. But there is Maketoys Endgame. I saw a lot of people commenting on this that, oh, hey, Endgame's coming out. I guess they're not dead. I hadn't heard that anything... I know Fans Project is iffy. I hadn't heard anything about Maketoys being non-existent, which is... So that was a rumor that came up. But yeah, here's Endgame. Showed up the other day, safe and sound. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm not have my finger on the pulse of what's going on behind the scenes of third party, but it's a good solid toy. It's a nice return to form after Solar Flare, because like I said, there were some concerns there with just quality wise, but the mold is holding up and everything seems decent. I forgot to show off his fingers. He does have the posable fingers. But nothing on this is overtly loose. Granted, again, one of the big issues I had on my Solar Flare was those tail fins that are not present here on the vertical stabilizers here on the on Dirge. So who knows? Like, I'm looking forward to Ramjet. I think Ramjet's my favorite of the cone heads. I think I've said that before. But nice and solid. There's Dirge, or Endgame, I guess. MTRM-15 Endgame from Maketoys.